I have different personalities, you know what I'm saying? Nobody knows who's coming downstairs in the morning.
Oprah Winfrey has been tied to so many awful people. And the things that she's done throughout the years have only been in service to certain people.
That was a crazy one. What am I doing?
With all this new alarming news of Diddy coming out, people are looking back at his old interviews, and one he did with Oprah where he refused to answer a question is concerning to say the least. Now, Diddy has gone by many different names. His legal name is Sean Combs. He then changed his middle name to Love at one point. He's gone by Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, and Diddy. Why all these names? It's honestly so confusing, but it seems like Diddy will never share why. Now, in 1996, under the name Puff Daddy, he released his first commercial vocal work as a rapper. He then changed his stage name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy in 2001, and on August 16, 2005, he announced on Today that he was altering his stage name yet again. He'd be calling himself Diddy. He then said fans did not know how to address him, which led to confusion. He changed his name again on November 5, 2017, when he announced that he'd be going by the name Love, stating, "My new name is Love, aka Brother Love." 2 days later, he told the press he had been joking, but on January 3, 2018, he announced on Jimmy Kimmel Live that he had changed his mind again and would be using the new name after all. Now, the change became official in 2022. Many people have been confused by what to call him and why he's had all these different names that constantly change. Now, in 2006, while making an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Oprah tried to get to the bottom of his stage names, why he changed them, and what they meant. Diddy, though, was not going to give up that information. Diddy said, "It's a nickname somebody gave me. I've never told anyone that, but I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah. But I can't look you in the eye and explain that one." Now, he shoved the question aside and said, "It's just a silly name." It was made pretty clear here that he didn't want to share the deeper meaning and significance of his stage name. Now, what is strange is that Oprah did not probe him anymore and just accepted that she wouldn't get an answer. Diddy then said, "I'll answer every other question except that one." Now, in his other interviews, he's opened up about his many nicknames. He told Jet magazine in 1998 that he had a temper when he was younger, and his friends started calling him Puffy. While speaking with CNN, he shared, "I've had different name changes because I only just grew up in a neighborhood where everyone had nicknames. My first nickname was Puffy," and he said he was given the nickname Puff as a child because he would huff and puff when he was angry. Now, it seems like his name will remain just one more secret that Diddy keeps from the world. Now, I don't know why he's making it such a big deal though. It honestly makes him even more suspicious. I mean, why wouldn't he want to share it unless it was something bad, right? And of course, this isn't the first weird interview that Diddy has had. In 1999, he did an interview with Entertainment Tonight where he practically told us he was up to no good. He said, "They won't even give me a permit for the parties no more, but we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my parties, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. Whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated." He added about the parties. "It's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. It's cool. It doesn't make me feel any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. It just makes me feel like I know how to throw a party." Then there's his multiple Ellen interviews. Now, I feel like every time he was there, he said something that was a red flag. In 2009, Diddy came under fire for lending his home to Chris Brown and Rihanna after their infamous fight. Ellen invited the mogul on her show to explain his actions as she found them irresponsible due to the risk of sending the wrong message to young fans. Now, Diddy immediately took a defensive stance following Ellen's remarks, saying, "Because I know both of them and it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to anyone I want to. I'm the type of person who doesn't cast judgment on somebody, so if friends ask me for a favor, then I'ma be there for a favor, as long as I know the energy of the favor is positive." Now, in between his answers to Ellen, Diddy is seen on camera visibly upset and scowling at the audience. After the segment though, Ellen and Diddy decide to break into a dance number, and it's honestly just so weird. Now, the fact that Diddy was defending the situation with Chris and Rihanna isn't that surprising considering everything he did to his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Him and Cassie dated on and off for 10 years and broke up officially in 2018. In November 2023 though, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy for mistreating her and taking advantage of her during their relationship. Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations, he said at the time. But after the case was settled, less than 48 hours after it was filed, I may add, his attorney put out another statement saying, "Just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing," he said. Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Miss Ventura the best. So yeah, Diddy claimed he was innocent and that Cassie was lying, but earlier this year, hotel footage leaked of an incident Cassie described in the lawsuit. It was proof that she was telling the truth and that Diddy really was a monster. Now, after this was leaked, Diddy made an apology, but was he really remorseful? People don't think so. He was just sorry that he got caught. Now, honestly, the CCTV footage was extremely disturbing and it showed us that there was something seriously wrong with the star. Now, I can't believe that Cassie had to go through so much mistreatment. It's disgusting what he did to her, and I'm glad he's in jail. Then, in another interview that's been raising some eyebrows is from 2012, when Tour interviewed Diddy for Fuses on the Road, discussing the entertainer's career thus far. Now, as the interview closes, Tour asks Diddy, "Do you think that people really know you?" To which Diddy dramatically responds, "Nah, people don't really know me, and that's by design." Tours then becomes curious and asks, "So who is this person, the Sean Combs we don't know?" Diddy's consistently maintained smile then disappeared before he offered an answer with a deadpan look, "We have yet to find out. You have to come along for the ride. That's the whole part of the journey. That's the whole part of entertainment. You don't rock with a brother for 20 years and stop. Now you gotta see this movie all the way through, baby." Yeah, so that just really proves that Diddy was able to trick the public into thinking that he was a great person while he knowingly did horrible things behind the scenes. Now, Diddy finally got arrested in September though for his involvement in a crime ring that dates back to 20 years ago. Since he's been locked up, more details about the case have been leaked, and hundreds of victims have come forward with lawsuits against the star. Again, Diddy is denying everything, but he did the same thing with Cassie, and it turns out that she was telling the truth, so I have a hard time believing that he's truly innocent in all of this. His trial is set for May 5th, 2025, and many different celebrities have been brought up in connection to Diddy. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the case, but it is not going to be pretty. Does Ashton Kutcher have anything to do with Diddy's crime ring? Maybe, as it appears that the pair have been friends for decades and have been seen out and about together, with Ashton attending Diddy's infamous parties. Now, these parties are in which the police believe crimes were happening, but if Ashton was a part of this, was he forced to participate by Diddy? I mean, Diddy has made threats to him in the past. Now, Diddy and Ashton met in the early 2000s as they both did work for MTV. Ashton was on the show Punk'd, which was a reality show where he would secretly prank celebrities and catch their reactions on camera. Diddy, though, was not a fan of this. Ashton and the crew were throwing out names of celebrities who they thought would be good to prank, and Diddy's name came up. But somehow, Diddy was made aware of this and confronted Ashton, telling him not to prank him. Later, in a joint interview in 2018 with James Corden, Diddy and Ashton spoke about what happened. Diddy said, "I gave Ashton a call one day and said, 'I heard you're going to punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea. If you do that, that will not end well for you. But I think we should work out a deal.' Then their friendship bloomed." I'm not sure though, with Diddy starting off with a threat like that, I don't think he'd want to be friends. Also, what kind of deal was Diddy talking about? With everything we know now about the rapper, that is just suspicious. Now, later in the conversation, Corden asks what happens on the other side of that velvet rope, what's going on inside that party. Diddy then laughs and said, "This was before social media, so things were a little bit more private. It was a gorgeous time to grow up." And yeah, it was good for him, because no one was able to document his crimes and post them everywhere or expose and cancel him for all of the horrible things that he did. Later on in the interview, he named his 30th birthday party as his best party, saying that Beyonce and Donald Trump were in attendance. He then added that he was no longer in contact with the then president. "I just tried to lead by example," he said. "It's a wake-up call to take accountability for the future of America and the future of the world." Corden then said, "I don't want to speak out of turn, but are we looking at a Diddy Kutcher 2020 ticket here?" Diddy laughed at the idea, saying, "I don't think it would be in the country's best interest to have me in charge," and yeah, it wouldn't be. And with Ashton's ties to Diddy, he wouldn't be good in charge either. Now, this isn't the only interview that's raised some eyebrows about the pair. In 2019, Ashton was a guest on the YouTube show Hot Ones, where he was asked about his friendship with Diddy. The host asked Ashton what his favorite Diddy party moment was, and Ashton laughed and said, "I've got a lot I can't tell." He sat thinking and said, "Can't tell that one either. Diddy party stories, man, that was some weird memory lane thing." Now, it is very strange that he dodged this question, and what was so bad about the memories that did pop up in his mind? Did he know that bad things were happening at Diddy's parties, and was he a part of the problem? People who have watched back this interview are shocked and have become even more suspicious of Ashton. Now, if you somehow didn't know, Diddy was arrested in September for running a crime ring. He's been denied bail multiple times as he's a flight risk, but he's been in trouble with the law before his arrest. He had at least 4 lawsuits filed against him, like from his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura or music producer Rodney Jones. Then in March, 2 of Diddy's homes were raided, and since he's been arrested, more and more cases have been brought against him. His trial is set for May 2025, but that might change depending on how many more people come forward about the star. It's been said from sources that Ashton is actually scared of what Diddy could say and that he might try to drag the actor down. An insider source revealed to Daily Mail that Ashton absolutely regrets his friendship with Diddy considering what has happened. He feels lied to, betrayed, taken for granted, and manipulated. They continue by saying everyone who is close to Diddy fears the possibility of Diddy making up false allegations to clear his own name. Although Kutcher is frightened by the prospect of being involved in the case, he is also prepared to completely cooperate with the authorities because he has nothing to hide. But I don't know. I feel like a non-guilty person isn't worried about being framed for being taken down for something that's complete lies. I think Ashton is definitely hiding something and is more involved than we think, and we'll just have to see how this all plays out. But on the other hand, last week a source told TMZ that Ashton has nothing to worry about. A source alleged to the media outlet, "This narrative has got to stop. Ashton has nothing to do with this, zero involvement, zero knowledge of Combs' activities." The source added, "Ashton, like everyone else in Hollywood, attended a Diddy party 20 years ago." So maybe this will finally put an end to all the Ashton speculation. As we all know though, Ashton does not have the best track record when it comes to choosing friends. Like he and his wife Mila Kunis's longtime friend and co-star Danny Matterson. The 3 of them acted together on the show That 70s Show, and on June 17, 2020, Danny was charged with 3 crimes, and on January 21, 2021, he pleaded not guilty. Later though, he was found guilty, and for his sentencing, Ashton and Mila submitted character letters to the judge to hopefully reduce his sentencing. These letters were then leaked to the public, and it made a lot of people angry that they were defending him. Ashton wrote that Danny was an excellent role model and was a dedicated and loyal husband. "I hope that my testament to his character is taken into consideration in sentencing. I do not believe he is an ongoing harm to society, and having his daughter raised without a father would be an injustice in and of itself. As a friend, Danny has been nothing but a positive influence on me," Ashton wrote. "Over a 25-year relationship, I don't ever recall him lying to me. He taught me about being direct and confronting issues in life and relationships head on, resolving them and moving forward." Now, this being leaked then prompted the couple to apologize online. In the video, Ashton said he and his wife wrote the letters after Danny's family asked them to characterize the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing. Though the pair acknowledged that they were aware of the pain their letters had caused. They were intended for the judge to read, Ashton said, and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. "We would never want to do that, and we're sorry if that has taken place." And let me just say, a lot of people people actually didn't forgive them. The backlash was so bad that Ashton actually stepped down as chairman for the company Thorn. His decision to step down was rooted in the recognition of recent events, the organization said in a statement. Ashton went on to say, "After my wife and I spent several days of listening, personal reflection, learning, and conversations with survivors and the employees and the leadership at Thorn, I have determined the responsible thing for me to do is to resign as chairman of the board, effective immediately," Ashton said in a letter. It seems like with everything that's happened with Danny and Diddy, Ashton doesn't surround himself with the best people. So what does that make him? Is he really as good as he claims he is? All I gotta say is I never expected to witness the downfall of Ashton Kutcher. Now, when it comes to the Diddy case, we'll just have to wait and see what happens and how involved Ashton really is.
An interview between Justin Bieber and Diddy has recently resurfaced, and it's taking the internet by storm. Diddy wanted the younger star to keep quiet about whatever was happening at their hangouts, and after all the recent allegations against Diddy Combs, people are voicing their concerns. Popular music artist Sean Diddy Combs, responsible for songs like I'll Be Missing You and I Need a Girl, was recently arrested, and new details about the serious situation are coming out daily. It started with the November 2023 lawsuit from one of his ex-partners, and it continued with multiple other individuals coming forward to share their stories of Diddy's misconduct, and the latest development is a 2011 Jimmy Kimmel live interview resurfacing. Kimmel is interviewing Combs and a young Justin Bieber. At this point in time, Bieber was quite close to Combs, it seems, good friends. Combs even referred to Bieber as a little brother throughout the interview. Still, the age difference between the two is staggering, about 24 years. So of course, Kimmel questioned how this duo even came to be, asking if the pair were possibly working together, to which Diddy denied, instead sharing that the two became friends in a strange way.
I mean, I think that we've become friends in a strange way, you know?
Robin Big.
No real elaboration on that statement. Diddy just kind of continues on, saying that Bieber is like a little brother to a lot of people in the music industry. He will call up Diddy and presumably others in the industry for advice when needed, and then his next statements just start feeling a little bit icky with everything the public now knows about him. Diddy starts talking about how himself and others in the strong family that is the record industry want to keep their arms around Justin and protect him because he is such a nice person.
And he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around and we want to protect him.
Back in 2011, when this interview came out, these statements raised no red flags as far as the public knew. Diddy was a great guy, a big help to a rising star, and a music icon. In fact, people clapped for him in the interview because, well, these are nice things to say about a 16-year-old Bieber. However, in 2024, with everything we now know about Combs and his behind-the-scenes lifestyle, his comments are way more off-putting and uncomfortable. Justin appears to be pretty at ease during the interview, joking around with Combs and Kimmel. When Kimmel plays off the little brother comments by suggesting Combs buy Bieber a car like he did his actual son, Bieber is quick to play along, saying, "He got me a Lamborghini, I haven't gotten it yet though." This is somehow the moment that shifted the conversation into questionable territory. Kimmel asks when the car is coming, to which Diddy responds that Bieber had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and this is where it gets weird in 2024, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody. This is met with lots of laughter from the audience because who would have ever thought that anything shady could be going on behind the scenes with this guy? This entire conversation and interaction is likely referring to the 48 hours Diddy and Justin had spent together around this time. That's right, a young Justin Bieber was left in Combs' care for a full 48 hours. Now, how did that even happen? Well, there is an explanation out there. Nowadays, musicians' YouTubes are more for uploading music videos or some behind the scenes content, but 15 years ago, vlogs were super common and uploaded pretty frequently by big stars, including Bieber. He did in fact shoot a quick 2-minute video with Diddy, and it is in fact still up on Justin Bieber's YouTube channel today. So let's get into it. The video starts out with Diddy and Bieber looking at a luxury car, which is, you guessed it, a Lamborghini, just like they were talking about in the Kimmel interview. In the vlog, Diddy is shown telling Justin that when he turns 16 to come back down to use the car, even saying the keys would be his. And that makes some of those Kimmel comments make a lot more sense. But how did Bieber even end up in the position to be hanging out with Diddy anyways? The caption of the vlog explains that, saying that Justin had produced a song for Combs that he wanted to show him, and the Beliebers got his attention and made it happen. As the mini vlog continues, Combs and Bieber start discussing what they're gonna do. I mean, Combs is almost 40 and Bieber hasn't hit 16 yet, so really, what are they gonna do? Combs' answer to that question is, where are we hanging out and what we doing we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose. It's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
And I think collectively we're all hoping it was paintball and music producing, but still, that is a very concerning statement from Combs. Combs continues on sharing that he had custody of Bieber for the 48 hours he was with him, and then shared how he had legal guardianship of Usher when he produced his first album. The short video finishes with Diddy promising that him and the young star were going to go full crazy. Bieber suggested they start the 48 hours by going to get some girls, to which Diddy responded, "Man after my heart."
He's with me, so and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
All in all, this video could not have aged worse. It's surprising that the video is even still up on Justin's channel, and even more surprising, the comment section is still active. Many users are commenting their concerns over the contents of the conversation. One user bringing up the fact that despite this video being up almost 14 years, no one's questioned it till now. We don't know exactly what happened during those 48 hours, however, something weird must have went down because it seems Justin stopped contacting Combs afterward. Diddy visited Bieber in studio a little while after the 48 hours, and Justin looked noticeably less at ease than he had in that first vlog together. Diddy also seemed to be getting on Justin's case for not contacting him or staying in touch as much, which is an odd thing to be requesting from someone almost 24 years your junior. Diddy is still getting on the young star's case, suggesting that because he's a big deal now, selling out arenas and everything, that's why he stopped calling and that's why they stopped hanging out.
Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Comments the baby singer has made as he gets older have also raised some red flags about what he has gone through in the industry. Comments about how he wants to protect younger artists and getting emotional in interviews.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn. And
it's no secret that Justin has had a rough go in the music industry and has publicly coped with his trauma in unglamorous ways. As more and more information comes out about those he was surrounded with at the time, people are creating more and more theories that make his outbursts make sense. However, it seems Bieber is looking to put all the harder events of his upbringing behind him. An insider close to the singer has shared that amongst all this, he just wants to focus on being a great dad and husband. Bieber welcomed his first child with Hailey Bieber in August after announcing the pregnancy back in May. His fans and the general public do wish for the best for the singer. The same cannot be said though for Sean Diddy Combs, of course, and as the charges and evidence continue to pile up against him, he loses public favor with every passing day. Recently, it's come out that one of his youngest victims wasn't even Justin's age when he first met Combs. As it stands, Combs is facing a minimum of 15 years and a max of a life sentence. Combs has continued to deny that he ever harmed anyone.
What's one misconception about you?
There are no misconceptions about me.
Liam Payne's recent passing has reignited conspiracy theories linking him to Puff Daddy, especially after a resurfaced video from 2017. Liam once claimed he was left scared after an encounter with the hip-hop mogul and Jay-Z in a video that's resurfacing in light of the singer's shocking passing. Payne made the comments back in a 2017 appearance on the Graham Norton Show, where he recalled meeting Puffy at a party and how the rapper lingered in their handshake for an uncomfortable amount of time. Liam said, and I quote, "I went over to speak to him and Jay-Z, and as I shook his hand, he just chuckled. He had the most evil laugh I've ever heard. So I'm a little bit fearful of that man." Now, Liam was only 24 at the time. Liam said that Puffy held his hand for it was just a very uncomfortable amount of time, in the longest handshake ever, leaving him wondering, when is this going to end? Now, that video sparked wild conspiracy theories recently, in the wake of obviously Liam's passing and the mounting allegations against Puffy, who was awaiting trial on multiple unspeakable charges in cases that have rocked the music industry. Fans began speculating online that Liam's sudden and mysterious passing might be connected to the music mogul. Some users on social media, particularly the app formerly known as Twitter, drew parallels between Liam's comments and his untimely leaving, suggesting Liam Payne talks about Puffy. Everyone tries to stop him, and now he passes mysteriously. Connect the dots. There's no such thing as an accident in the music industry. Liam's fall was a warning to others. Somebody added. They had like a whole thread going. They mentioned that too many stars pass away under suspicious circumstances. Liam's fall is just another in a long line of unexplained ones. They also added that they're suspicious of any passing with anybody who knew Puffy. They included the hashtag wake up, and added that any interviewer talking about Puffy right now is so scared. So this old clip went viral. I think there was like over 131,000 views on it. Like, there was a lot of eyeballs. Somebody else added in commentary saying that Liam was so put off considerably when he met Puffy. And well, once again, Liam is sadly no longer with us, and they don't think that's a coincidence, but they were just putting that out there. Yet another user shared a clip saying, Liam talking about Puffy? Now they've shut him down. And somebody else even said, like, isn't it funny how this video was circulating last week online and now he's no longer with us? Now, somebody else suggested, without providing evidence of their claims, that maybe Liam would have been asked as a witness to the upcoming trials. Which, by the way, 5 new federal civil lawsuits have been filed against Puff Daddy over the last weekend, bringing forth a fresh new wave of accusations against the producer dating between the year 2000 to 2022. Among the plaintiffs, 2 are men, 3 are women, and all of these alleged incidents reportedly occurred at parties that were hosted by the mogul. Liam's interview wasn't the only time he mentioned this unsettling encounter, by the way. In a different 2017 interview with Kiss FM's Kyle and Jackie O, he again spoke about his run-in with Puffy at a celebrity-packed event that also included Jay-Z and Leonardo DiCaprio. He described it as the most daunting celebrity experience, reiterating the strange handshake and the unsettling chuckle. He also admitted that he had approached Puffy, believing he would be the safest out of the trio, which, what does that mean? And in retrospect, he realized he missed the mark. Obviously, this has all resurfaced following the news of Liam's untimely passing away in Argentina after he fell from a 3rd-floor balcony at his hotel and suffered a fractured skull, amongst other injuries. Liam, who quickly rose to stardom as a member of popular British boy band One Direction and grappled with intense global fame while still in his youth, sent shockwaves across the world as investigators continue their investigation. As fans and media descended upon the Casa Sur Hotel in the trendy Palermo neighborhood of Argentina's capital, the forensics unit worked inside, collecting evidence. The local police said they found Liam's hotel room in complete disarray with packets of a central nervous system depressant, as well as energy supplements and other over-the-counter items all around the room, and various items broken. They added that there was a broken bottle, there was a lighter, there was a cell phone that were retrieved from the internal hotel courtyard where Liam's body was sadly found. Police said they had rushed to the hotel Wednesday in response to an emergency call just after 5 p.m. local time that had warned of an aggressive man who could be under the influence of some sort of harmful substance. A hotel manager could be heard on a 911 call recording that was obtained by the Associated Press, saying the hotel had a guest who was overwhelmed, he was destroying the entire room, and, well, we need you to send someone, please. The manager's voice becomes more anxious as the call goes on, noting the room has a balcony. A photo provided by the police from inside Liam's hotel room really did show all the smashed upness and the debris and just how sad things were. You could see the TV was situated at an angle, there was a very large break visible in the middle of the screen. One Direction was famously assembled by British producer Simon Cowell after he saw Liam and 4 other talented young men, Harry Styles, Zayn Malik, Louis Tomlinson, and Niall Horan, audition for the UK version of The X Factor. Individually, they weren't good enough, but Simon thought together they were a sensation. Called 1D by their fans, the Directioners, they became a global phenomenon as the first group to have its first 4 albums debut at #1 on the Billboard 200 on the Billboard charts. Their massive fan base, once again, Directioners, propelled the pop group to more than 50 million records sold before the members parted ways to pursue solo careers. They were known for songs like What Makes You Beautiful, Best Song Ever, A Story of My Life, and Liam has previously spoken out about the mental weight of all that fame. He said, "I don't think I struggle in the sense of what you would naturally think of when I'm walking down the street with every person stopping me." He mentioned that, it happens sometimes, but it's mainly mentally where you struggle with it. It's the getting ready, always knowing that you will be photographed. Zayn Malik was the first to depart the band, though, in 2015, and everybody else followed suit. Liam released his first solo album in 2019, titled LP1, and last year he did announce plans for a new album and tour that were later postponed after he suffered from a kidney infection. In recent years, Liam has acknowledged struggling with addictions, saying in a YouTube video that was posted in July of last year that he had been sober for 6 months after receiving treatment. English singer Rebecca Ferguson, who reached the final of the British show The X Factor, same year that One Direction was competing, has called out the exploitation and profiteering of young stars and the negative impacts of fame in a tribute to Liam. She mentioned that they both met at Euston Station in London and shared the taxi together to the audition. They were young, they were innocent, they were unaffected by fame. This was all a statement that she wrote on Twitter. She said, "I can't help but think of that boy who was hopeful and looking forward to his bright future ahead. If he hadn't jumped on that train and jumped in that taxi," she says, "I believe he would be alive today." Now, Liam was really young when he first auditioned for X Factor, and he had to return a couple years later. It was 2010, then he was like a good age. He returned for a second audition, and that's how we got One Direction. In terms of reality TV, Fremantle UK, the production company that oversees a lot of shows, they did mention that they postponed auditions after the passing away, saying their thoughts are with Liam's friends, family, and all who loved him. Now, going back to Ferguson, she has spoken out for years about the exploitation and profiteering of young stars and how a lot of them are still living with the aftermath and the PTSD. She concluded by saying, "Rest in peace, Liam. I hope you find peace on the other side and love to your mom and family." When Liam was talking about the exploitation, he mentioned back in 2021 on the Diary of a CEO podcast that him and his band members were often locked in their rooms due to their popularity, which led him to start to enjoy drinking and having parties for one, and that carried on for many years as part of his life. In another interview in 2019 with British broadcaster Sky News, he said he felt quite lucky to still be here, which was something he had never shared at that point. His family has released a statement saying they are heartbroken by his passing. Liam will live forever in their hearts. They'll remember him for his kind, funny, and brave soul. They were supporting each other best they could. They were asking for privacy and space, which they absolutely deserve. More tributes have been rolling in. Paris Hilton said it was so upsetting to hear the news of the passing. She sent her love and condolences to his family and loved ones. Rolling Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood remembered working with Liam on a performance on The X Factor. Another popular boy band, Backstreet Boys, mentioned that words could not express the emotions they were feeling, and they sent their love to Liam's family, friends, and the Directioners.
Recently, a journalist has stepped forward to talk about how uncomfortable they were interviewing Blake Lively in 2016. Norwegian interviewer Christy Flaw, who goes by Kirsty, has uploaded her 2016 interview with Blake that was so uncomfortable it made her want to quit her journalism career. Kirsty posted a video simply called "The Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job" to her popular YouTube channel earlier this week, and viewers have been left horrified by the 4-minute long footage. In the clip, Blake is promoting the movie Cafe Society and is joined by her co-star Parker Posey. Now, this movie came out in July 2016, and the interview would have taken place around the same time. Now, Blake had actually announced her pregnancy at the Met Gala that May, but appears to take offense when Kirsty starts the interview by congratulating her on her little bump. "Congrats on your little bump," Blake mockingly says back to Kirsty, who visibly isn't pregnant. And also, one of the worst things we've now found out is that Kirsty is actually infertile, so this comment hurt her even more. Appearing to purposely exclude Kirsty from the conversation, Blake and Parker seem to almost ignore her, and Blake seemingly actively avoids to make eye contact with the reporter, and even when she does look away from Parker, she's looking off camera rather than at Kirsty. Once Kirsty's interview time is up, both Blake and Parker appear to roll their eyes and pull a face as she leaves. Now, it was extremely rude and horrible, and people in the comments called them out. Now, in 2013, Jesse Eisenberg did an interview with Romina Pugga promoting his new film, Now You See Me. The interview started out rough, but it seemed like Jesse and Romina were both being sarcastic and dry to each other on purpose. Now, this included Jesse insulting her, saying he wouldn't want to find her in a crowd, and that she was the carrot top of interviewers. It seemed like the two were in on it, but afterwards Romina made a blog post saying, "So I was just humiliated by Jesse Eisenberg. When the 5-minute interview, more like self-esteem butchering, were finally over, I went behind a curtain to wait for the memory cards from the interview. I peeked around the curtain to ask Jesse about his neighborhood in New York. He lived a few blocks from where I used to live, and he immediately says, 'You're still here.'" Now, Jesse was widely slammed on social media for the interview, in which he came across as arrogant and was seen mocking the journalist's questions. Talking to NME, Jesse said he had different memories of the interview, as he found it to be quite fun. "I remember she was laughing. Even after she left, I said to the people in the room, 'What a relief.' Like, that was the most funny, interesting interview I'd had all day. She said I had made her upset. It was like the exact opposite bit of what my experience was, and I didn't know the appropriate way to handle something that's completely mischaracterized, he added. Now, people said there are people who found the interview quite funny, saying, listen, I would never want to upset someone, and if I did upset her, obviously I would have acknowledged that, he added. While walking the red carpet at the 2023 Oscars, Hugh Grant was quickly called out online after an interview with Ashley Graham on ABC's Academy Awards pre-show. When asked by the model what his favorite part of the awards ceremony was, he responded, "It's fascinated, the whole humanity is here, it's Vanity Fair." Now, things only got more awkward as Hugh began unenthusiastically responding with short answers, such as saying he wasn't rooting for any nominees in particular, and stating that he couldn't remember the name of the tailor who worked on his suit. Now, the interview concluded with Ashley asking him about appearing in one of the night's nominated films, Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery, in which he made a cameo as the partner of Daniel Craig's detective character. "Well, I'm barely in it," he stated. "I'm in it for about 3 seconds." Now, on top of that, when asked if he had fun shooting the Knives Out sequel, he simply responded with, "Almost." Now, Twitter went crazy calling out his behavior as it was just a plain awkward exchange. Now, reflecting on the situation a few months later, Ashley told the Sunday Times, "I could tell he didn't want to be there, that was obvious. Before, we were chatting, he was very pleasant, then we started rolling and he was like, I don't want to be here, and I was like, okay, work with me, I get it, but like, work with me. I was trying my hardest to be my nice, upbeat self, and he gave me what he had," she said. In 2016, Vin Diesel derailed his interview with YouTuber Carol Maria by trying to flirt with her and insisting that she was too beautiful and sexy for him to continue, making her visibly uncomfortable. Now, in the video's intro, Carol addressed the situation, saying, "He began to hit on me in the middle of the interview, saying that I was pretty, and he interrupted the interview 3 times to talk about it. I was laughing, completely uncomfortable. I was not sure what to do," she said. "I just laughed because it was a very delicate situation. I did not like it. At the time, I did not know how to react, but you will see that I was uncomfortable. It was not nice that he interrupted my work." Now, in the video, Vin Diesel is seen saying, "Tell me your story, let's get out of here, let's go have lunch. My God, I love her." Now, Carol attempted to get things back on track, only for Diesel to derail the interview once again over their shared love of the game Dungeons & Dragons. "Guys, really, look how beautiful she is," he said. "You guys think this is a joke? How am I supposed to sit here while I'm looking at such beauty? She's so beautiful. I'm in love with the interviewer." Yeah, that's definitely not the way to talk to an interviewer. I mean, she was just trying to do her job. Plus, he was married and had children at the time of this interview. It's just gross. Reporter Ali Fedotowsky was asked by her co-host Roxy Manning whether she had bad experiences interviewing celebrities on the red carpet. Ali then said, "Sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm going to Taylor Swift you right now." She then proceeded to say that Jake showed up for the red carpet. "My first red carpet for E! News, he walks up, I'm shaking in my heels. I say to him, 'Hi Jake, who do you bring tonight? Like for a date, like who's your date tonight?' He goes, 'Bye-bye,' and walked away from me." Ali then shared that she started crying, fearing that she was going to lose her job after failing to get answers from the actor. However, she then witnessed Jake give another interviewer the same treatment. "There was an interviewer next to me and her question to him was, 'So, if you don't get an Oscar for this film, those tattoos should,' because he was all tatted up for his film, and he goes, 'Bye,' and walks away because he is a serious actor," Ali recalled. Now, Ali worked for the entertainment news company from 2013 to 2015, and she called the position her least favorite job she ever had. She added, "It was just not for me, it really ate away at my self-confidence," and she also noted that she doesn't have patience for stars who are rude to interviewers. "I've walked so many red carpets because of The Bachelorette and done countless interviews, and I know how easy it is to be nice," she said. But hey, at least he wasn't just rude to her, but still, that's a rude thing to do, Jake. Now, Joaquin Phoenix's film Joker did amazing, as it was praised by pretty much everyone, but it appears that he got tired of talking about it. Now, Joaquin took home the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama for Joker, but do not ask him about it. Now, after his win, Phoenix claimed that he was tricked into entering the press room, and he was annoyed at journalists for asking him questions. When asked about his process for transforming into the Joker, Phoenix snapped, "Isn't this old news? I think I've talked about this for 6 months. I mean, right? I feel like I've answered these questions. You want to hear a different version of it? I can try to change it slightly, or what should I do? It was a long process. process, and there's so many things I just can't remember right now, but I feel like I already answered this question 6 months ago, but thanks for still asking. Then when asked about a potential Joker sequel, he got similarly annoyed, saying, "What do you mean about the possibility of a sequel? Why? I don't care who's saying that, that's awesome and I love whoever says it. I don't think that I've ever done too many predictable things, so if that came up, it's not because we're following some rulebook, it's because we feel inspired again to explore the character more thoroughly. That would be the only reason for me to do it, so that's all I can say about that." Now, we all know that they did make a sequel, but him responding to these questions like that was just awkward. And in 2017, Selena Gomez was announced to receive the Billboard Music Award for Woman of the Year. Now, she received it after she told the world about her kidney transplant, and this was a huge award for her, and it should have been made all about her. But on the red carpet, she was asked about her ex, Justin Bieber. Now, Selena has always been linked to Justin from the moment she started dating him. This understandably has been very annoying, and Selena is tired of questions about Justin. Now, during her interview, she was asked how Justin had most influenced her to be the person she was today. Now, Selena wasn't having this though, as the day was about her, so she responded by saying, "I don't think anyone truly actually cares." Now, some people may think this response was rude, but others thought the question itself was rude. Now, she'd been asked the same question about Justin over and over again, and the night was about her, but good for Selena for only discussing what she wanted to. Taylor Swift is arguably one of the most famous people in the world right now, and in a resurfaced interview, she praises the now disgraced music mogul Diddy. But does she still feel that way right now? Well, let's see what she said. A resurfaced video from 2011 shows Taylor playing a celebrity quiz game during an appearance on The Rachel Ray Show when she was just 21 years old. Rachel asked her a series of rapid-fire celebrity questions, and Taylor responded by holding up a photo of the celebrity she would choose. Now, celebrities included Diddy, Madonna, and J-Lo. Now, when asked who she would take to prom, Taylor responded, "It would be a group, and it would be a really fun group." "Boy, you're going on a freaky prom date," Rachel said, and Taylor then held up pictures of who would be in the group. This included Diddy, Katy Perry, Jennifer Lopez, Justin Timberlake, and Sheryl Crow, which is honestly such an interesting choice. "Why that spectacular array of people?" Rachel asked, and Taylor responded by saying, "Because all these different reasons. Well, Katy would be so much fun. She's just like crazy fun, like spontaneous. Diddy's always been very nice to me," adding, "He would be fun in the prom group. He's a gentleman, isn't he? He's a lovely gentleman." Rachel then chimed in, and Taylor agreed. Now, these comments resurfaced and made headlines after the clip was shared in a since deleted TikTok video, and several fans claimed the clip didn't age well. "As a millennial, we looked up to those people. We didn't know what was really going on. This is like fearless speak now Taylor. She's like 19 to 21 here," one person commented. "Back when we were so naive," a second added, while a third wrote, "This aged like milk." Now, Taylor has been seen with Diddy in passing, like how they took a photo together at the 2023 VMAs, but she hasn't been attached to any of his parties or hanging out with him outside of award shows. It just seems like bad timing that she said this in the past, considering what we know now. Diddy has been served with lawsuit after lawsuit the past 2 years, and in March his houses were raided by the FBI. Later in September, he was arrested for running a crime ring, and he's also had over 20 lawsuits filed against him for how he mistreated and took advantage of people. Since then, details have come out about what the star was doing, and it's honestly just disgusting. Now, most of these incidents actually took place at his infamous parties. While a handful of celebrities who attended his parties say they never saw anything suspicious, it's been revealed that there were different tiers when it came to his parties. One was general admission, and then there were the more exclusive circles, and this is allegedly where the crimes took place. Former music industry insider Tom Swoop broke this all down on his YouTube channel. He said the entrance to the inner circle was where the real partying went on. Now, this allegedly included humiliating male and female guests on the promise of record deals or money. Yeah, why does this kind of sound like some sort of cult or some sort of ritual? Ugh. Now, Tom went on to say that there were a lot of substances present and that Diddy played a horrible so-called joke on a young artist. He said Diddy wanted the artist to do a certain act, and if he did it, Diddy would give him $100,000 in a record deal before claiming that it was a joke when the young artist was about to do it. Now, Tom claimed Diddy told him, "I can make anybody do anything because this is the life they want, and I got the keys to the castle." Now, Tom didn't like any of this, so he left the party thinking, if this is what goes on behind the curtain and you're all comfortable with this, nah, I don't want this life. He added there were so many celebrities there who were cool with who he was and what he did to entertain them. It's not isolated, he added. You need to think of everybody when you think of him and the access and amount of people who were there. Now, Diddy's neighbors in Beverly Hills experienced the aftermath of these parties since he held his white parties there from 1998 to 2009. It was the perfect place because there was a lot of privacy. One neighbor said for 6 or 7 years it was just parties, 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 adding that she saw women at all hours coming out and sitting down on the street. They didn't know where they were. She said they appeared lost and their underwear was showing. Now, with all the allegations against Diddy, this statement is even more chilling. They were known to be wild. A source who attended some of his parties shared in an issue with Us Weekly. Anything went at those parties. Now, according to multiple sources, unsavory behavior took place at Diddy's after parties. What happened before 2 a.m. pales in comparison to what happened at 5 a.m., says the first source. Now, a second source who wrangled guests for Diddy's white parties between 2006 and 2011 similarly told Us Weekly that high-profile celebs would leave around 2 or 3 a.m. because they knew the party was going to take a turn. Girls would start to lose their clothes. That was the signal for people to leave, explains the source, adding that they had benders lasting until 7 a.m. Now, Diddy was arrested in a Manhattan hotel room after a grand jury indictment on September 16th. His lawyer said the star had cooperated with authorities and voluntarily relocated to New York in anticipation of the charges. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court, they added. Now, the next day, in an appearance at the U.S. District Court in New York, Diddy was charged for his crimes and new details emerged. In an indictment that was unsealed, they described him as the head of a criminal enterprise. Prosecutors also alleged that Diddy taped freak-offs and would use footage to pressure his victims into silence. Now, if convicted, the musician faces a sentence of 15 years up to life in prison, but Diddy assures that he's not guilty. Now, he was denied bail after prosecutors argued that he posed a significant risk to the trial, reporting that he had already tried to obstruct the government's investigation of this case, repeatedly contacting victims and witnesses and feeding them false narratives of events. The judge cited the star's anger issues and history of substance use as a reason for keeping him detained until the trial. "My concern is that this is a crime that happens behind closed doors," the judge said. Now, Diddy's lawyers have repeatedly appealed the decision, offering to place the star under the watch of a round-the-clock private security team. However, Judge Andrew L. Carter Jr. said that even under those terms, Diddy could still use employees to contact witnesses. So his bail was still denied. He's currently being detained at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center until his trial, which is tentatively scheduled for May 5th, 2025. Since he's been arrested, he has faced even more lawsuits. Lawyer Tony Busby said he was representing 120 people who were victims of Diddy, spanning across 25 states, different genders, and all ages. Tony said his firm was working to vet another 100 cases. Diddy's lawyer said the rapper empathetically and categorically denied the allegations, saying they were false and defamatory. Now, at the time of writing this, since Diddy's been in jail, he's faced 17 new lawsuits, with more to come, I'm sure. The whole story is just so disturbing, but Diddy is still claiming his innocence, which at this point is crazy because he so clearly did everything he's being accused of. I mean, he denied any wrongdoing when it came to his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, but we saw that he was lying with the video proof that was leaked, so it's very unlikely that he's telling the truth now. His family, though, is sticking by him. This week, his son Quincy Combs made a post of him and his siblings with their father and said, "The past month has devastated our family. Many have judged both him and us based on accusation, conspiracy theories, and false narratives that have spiraled spiraled into absurdity on social media. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way, Quincy added. We hold on to the truth, knowing it will prevail, and nothing will break the strength of our family. We miss you and love you, Dad. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what other charges and lawsuits Diddy receives and what happens in the courts. Hopefully though, all the victims will receive some kind of justice. From talking to the royals to promoting a fraud on her show, Oprah Winfrey is known to be controversial and constantly pushes the limits, but sometimes she goes too far. So with that in mind, here's our list of Oprah's most outrageous interviews that caused public backlash. Starting off, we obviously have to talk about Harry and Meghan. Now, Oprah with Meghan and Harry was a 2021 television special hosted by Oprah Winfrey that featured an interview between Oprah, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry. And the interview came the year after Prince Harry and Meghan announced their decision to step down as working members of the British royal family in January 2020. Now, it's kind of ironic that they did this interview because Meghan and Harry claim that one of the reasons why they were stepping down from the royal family was because they wanted their privacy. Now, during this interview, the couple revealed a lot of information. Ahead of the interview, a clip was released of Oprah asking Meghan whether she was silent or silenced during her time as a working royal. Now, after Harry and Meghan took their relationship public, she said she was given a very clear directive from the moment the world knew Harry and I were dating to always say no comment. Now, Meghan also opened up about how she had dark thoughts while being a royal and how she wanted to hurt herself. She also said that she never got the proper mental health care from the palace that she needed. A reading encouraging segment of her talk show that made any selection a bestseller. Now, in September 2005, she picked the book A Million Little Pieces, a memoir by James Frey, about his years-long struggle with addiction. James then actually appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show to discuss the work that she called gut-wrenching. But in January 2006, the Smoking Gun did an investigation and they discovered that James had made up or exaggerated certain parts in his so-called memoir. Now, weeks after the story broke, he returned to the Oprah Show to face angry viewers and a livid Oprah. "I feel duped," she said. "But more importantly, I feel like you betrayed millions of readers," she added, also asking him why he felt the need to lie. Now, he stammered and tried in vain to make excuses, arguing that he altered a lot of the details, but that the overall plot of the memoir was true, to which the studio audience responded with boos, gasps, and groans. Now, this cringeworthy interview was so controversial, Oprah even later apologized to him for not treating him with the empathy she reserved for other guests, regardless of the mistakes they'd made. Now, this whole thing was honestly just so messy. Now we have Tom Cruise's crazy interview. Tom made an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 2005 to promote his remake of The War of the Worlds. Now, no one really focused on the movie though, as it was more about Tom's behavior. When the topic changed to who Tom was dating, which was Katie Holmes by the way, Tom couldn't contain his excitement. At different times during the interview, he jumps out of his seat, throws his arms in the air, pumps his fists, falls to his knee, and slaps the ground, squirms, and even tries to walk it all off. Now, the studio audience absolutely loved this. "Something happened to you," a delighted Oprah exclaimed at one point. "I'm in love," Tom explains. And he also jumped on her couch during this interview. In total, he jumped on the couch twice to show his excitement. Now, critics of the interview though weren't so sure, with the Ringer saying it rocked Hollywood and became a turning point for how we discuss and understand celebrities, and not in a good way. Others thought this interview was cute though. It was a new side of Tom that we had never really seen before. Then there was the interview with Elizabeth Taylor in February 1988. Now, back in the day, Elizabeth was a huge star, but at this time she had washed up a little bit, as she appeared in the occasional TV show or miniseries, but she still dominated tabloids and celebrity magazines because of her love life. Now, this included 7 marriages to 6 men at that point. And yes, she married, then divorced, then married and divorced the same man over again. The New Yorker reported that when Oprah landed an interview with Elizabeth, it was the first major celebrity sit-down for the Oprah Winfrey Show, and it was a big deal. There was one rule though that Oprah had to follow during this interview: do not ask Elizabeth about her love life at all. But Oprah decided to ignore this and asked Elizabeth about her relationships. Elizabeth hit back though, saying it was none of your business and gave Oprah a cold stare. Now this put Elizabeth off, and during the rest of the interview she wasn't as nice. According to Oprah, after that her responses were short and terse, making for bad, boring, and hostile television. At one point Oprah tried to cut the tension by quipping, "You're so revealing, you just tell everything. I declare you've got to stop talking so much, Miss Taylor." Now I can see what she was doing here, as she was trying to bring the mood up, but it didn't work and just made things worse. Cindy Crawford and Elite Model Management founder John Casablancas were interviewed on Oprah's show in 1986. During the segment though, Oprah had the young model stand up so the audience could see her body, which honestly just feels extremely weird. Now reflecting on the encounter 37 years later on Apple TV's The Supermodels, Cindy said, "I was like the chattel or a child, be seen and not heard. When you look at it through today's eyes, Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body, show us why you're worthy of being here," she said. In the moment I didn't recognize it, and watching it back I was like, oh my gosh, that was not so okay, really, especially from Oprah. And yeah, she's right, that was not okay at all. Now, in the spring of 1996, according to CBS News, the United Kingdom experienced an outbreak of mad cow disease. Now, per the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous system, and if humans eat infected beef, they can contract a deadly variant. Now, during the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lehman. The former cattle rancher had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle and went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Conscious Animal Welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cow to Americans. Now he pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow infected cattle to other animals could have facilitated the spread, and that such practices were common in the US. Now Oprah was left stunned by this. "It has just stopped me cold from eating another burger," she said. Now with Oprah's influence, right after the episode aired, beef prices plummeted for almost 2 weeks, hitting a 10-year low. As a result, a group of Texas cattle ranchers sued Oprah for $10.3 million, alleging that her remarks caused undue harm to the entire beef industry. One Texas rancher, Paul Engler, lost an estimated $6.7 million and organized a class action libel lawsuit against Oprah and her show's producers for besmirching American beef. But after a 6-week trial in Texas, Oprah won. Most people probably know that Robert Downey Jr. has had a history of substance abuse. He was introduced to these substances by his filmmaker father and was given stronger substances that resulted in him becoming an addict. The problem followed him into adulthood and nearly ended his acting career following a series of arrests. From 1996 through 2001, he was arrested several times on charges related to illegal substances, and he went through drug treatment programs and spent time in the county jail and prison. Thankfully though, he managed to kick the habit once and for all in the early 2000s, but people have still brought up this topic over and over again. In an interview about the Iron Man movies, Robert was asked an extremely personal question about his family and their shared history of substance abuse. Now this wasn't the point of the interview, and Robert was not impressed with this question. He said, "I'm sorry, what are we doing? Are we promoting a movie?" and then walked out. The interviewer then apologized, but it was truly an out-of-pocket question, and I'm glad Robert walked out. Later, speaking to radio host Howard Stern, Robert said he didn't have any regrets about walking out of the interview. "I just wish I'd left sooner," he said. Jerry Seinfeld is best known for playing a semi-fictionalized version of himself in the sitcom Seinfeld, which he created and wrote with Larry David. Now in 2007, Larry King had Jerry on his show, and at the time Jerry was filming for the Bee Movie and he was promoting it during filming. However, Larry asked Jerry a question about his sitcom that didn't go over too well. "You gave it up, right? They didn't cancel you, you canceled them," Larry asked. Now Jerry did not appreciate this and sat there and stared at him with a dumbfounded dumbfounded expression before shooting back, "You're not aware of this? You think I got cancelled? Are you under the impression that I got cancelled?" asked Jerry, his voice rising. Larry then sensed the jury was behaving rather sensitively to the question. "Have I hurt you, Jerry?" he asked, and Jerry went off by saying, "I thought it was well documented. Is this still CNN? Yeah, no, I went off the air. I was the #1 show on television, Larry. Do you know who I am? 75 million viewers, the last episode." Wow, yeah, he really put him in his place. Then in 2014, Samuel L. Jackson was doing an interview with KTLA Sam Rubin, who asked Samuel what the reaction was to his Super Bowl commercial. Now the problem was Samuel didn't do the commercial, it was another actor, and Sam got it wrong. Sam looked off camera as he realized his mistake, and Samuel called him out saying, "You're the entertainment reporter for the station, and you don't know the difference between me and Lawrence Fishburne. That must be a very short line for your job outside there," he said. Now he then went on a tangent for about 2 minutes calling out the reporter, and Sam apologized profusely. Later, Sam issued an apology saying, "I indicated to Samuel that I'd seen him during the Super Bowl, and he thought I had confused him with the commercial Lawrence Fishburne had done for a car company. Of course, a Captain America ad had also run during the Super Bowl, but I immediately felt so dumb I didn't bring that up, and he gave me the slacking that was well deserved," the reporter said. He then apologized further by saying, "I pride myself on the fact that unlike a lot of people who do this kind of work, more often than not, I really do know what I'm talking about, but I didn't 30 minutes ago, and I'm really embarrassed about it, and I very much apologize to Samuel L. Jackson and anyone else who was offended for what was a very amateur mistake." Then in 2011, Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake were at a press conference in Moscow to promote their film Friends with Benefits. Now during the conference, Mila, who speaks Russian, went back and forth with the reporter saying, "Well, if he wants to make movies and he can, why shouldn't he? What kind of question is that? Why are you here, huh?" Now the reporter responded with, "Well, I'm just doing my job," and Mila said, "Well, so is he. It's the same thing." Now I'm glad Mila stood up for Justin because the reporter was just being straight up rude. Justin then tried to keep up with the conversation via an earpiece providing a delayed translation, and afterwards he pointed to Mila and said, "This is my bodyguard." Now, Cara Delevingne was interviewed for Good Day Sacramento to promote her film Paper Towns. She was video chatting as she wasn't actually in the studio, and she was asked questions about the film, and she made a lot of sarcastic comments, obviously joking. Now the host didn't seem to understand this, and one host said that they saw her in London a couple weeks ago being interviewed, and she seemed more excited about the film, and they asked, "Are you exhausted?" which is just a crazy question to ask. Cara seemed visibly upset about this comment, saying no, she's still very excited, and that the premiere was last night and it was emotional. Now she also added that this interview was happening in the morning, so she just needed more energy. Now the host then said that she seemed irritated and said they'd let her go before saying one more line of, "Go take a little nap, have a Red Bull, how about that?" Now Cara awkwardly smiles and says, "Okay, now too far," and stares into the camera. And obviously uncomfortable, they end the feed on Cara's end as the hosts go to bash her and talk poorly about her. Now it was all just so rude and unnecessary, and she didn't deserve to be treated that way. Carmen Carrea is a model who in 2014 Katie Couric invited to be on her talk show. After Carmen discussed her modeling career as a trans woman, Katie began asking about her transition. She asked, "Was the whole process painful physically for you? And your private parts are different now, aren't they?" Now the second question caused Carmen to shush Katie. "I don't want to talk about it because it's really personal," she said. "I don't know, I'd rather talk about my modeling stuff. I'd rather talk about being in W and maybe being in Italian Vogue and doing fun stuff and showing people that after the transition, there's still life to live. I still have my career goals, I still have my family goals." Katie received backlash for her questions, and Laverne Cox, who appeared on the show after Carmen, told the host that focusing on transgender people's transitions rather than their daily lives objectifies them. Now in 2017, Katie revealed that she had the opportunity to cut the segment out of the interview, but decided to keep it as an educational moment for her audience. "I discussed it with Laverne Cox, and I wanted, maybe foolishly, to use myself as an example to really have a teachable moment on the show," she told the Daily Beast. That was my intent, and I guess I did it at the expense of making myself seem like an insensitive buffoon, which I guess I was. Now, in 2015, Ariana Grande did a radio interview with Los Angeles' Power 106, DJs Just Incredible, and Eric D. Lux. Now, unfortunately, these men decided to ask Ariana sexist questions instead of talking to her about her music and career. If you could use makeup or your phone one last time, what would you pick? One of them asked. Now, Ariana was thrown by this question and responded with, "Is this men assuming that's what girls would have to choose between?" And later in the interview, they asked her how long she could go without being on her phone, and she puts them in their place by saying she can go a long time without her phone, to which one of the hosts replies with, "Ladies learn," and Ariana hits back with, "Boys learn. Boys and girls learn. We can all learn." Ariana was clearly uncomfortable throughout the whole interview, and the radio host should have known better, and I'm glad Ariana called them out for their behavior. And finally, back in 2012, Nicki Minaj and radio host Peter Rosenberg got into a feud after Peter declared at that year's Hot 97 Summer Jam concert that her Pink Friday Roman Reloaded single Starships wasn't real hip-hop. A year later, the pair spoke on Hot 97, and Nicki took some shots at Peter after he disrespected her music and said, "I don't know your resume, I never found you funny, I never found you entertaining, I never found you smart," she told him. "I just found you annoying." To me, it was like, who are you? You don't have enough of a resume to make those comments. Now, this didn't really matter though, because later Peter tweeted that Nicki's boyfriend threatened him and that he still stands by his comments, claiming that Nicki overreacted. She's had a lot of good moments, Starships ain't one of them, and it represents the opposite of real hip hop, he explained.